and welcome to a new episode of Photography Behind the Scenes. Or is it a new one? Well, not really, because in today's video I want to bring you along on a shoot I went on back in September. I had come out to the countryside, to the fields, where I was really hoping to find some mist. However, apart from a couple patches of mist, I sadly didn't find any. Nevertheless, I decided to just walk around this place and explore the area. I came to this spot here where I was walking on a road in between a forest and a cornfield. With the trees hanging over the road here, I found that this looks like a nice arch that could be interesting to photograph. I don't really like this shot, even though there are a couple elements that I do enjoy. Let's go over those first. So the arch created by the tree works. I think it's beautiful and it gives the composition some structure by also creating a frame in a frame. I also enjoy what the frame shows me. Centered in both the photo and the frame is this huge power pole, and to the left is a signpost, which I think is a neat detail of the scene. However, I don't like the photo, and the biggest issue is I can't exactly tell you why. It just doesn't excite me. On a compositional and technical level, the photo is decent, but I think what it lacks is a feeling, a mood. At least I don't feel this photograph. Then I came here to the fields, and in the distance I spotted some treetops just peeking above the grass hill. I thought this could be a cool minimalistic composition, and so I got a shot. This is it, and this shoot is not going with a good start. This shot is, simply put, boring, I think. Minimalism in photography is a hard genre in my opinion. I think it's one of those genres that, when done right, look great, but it can be so easily done wrong and turn out like this photo, boring. I really can't say much about this photo. It was an attempt and it didn't work. That's how photography works. Then I walked onto the field here because I had spotted this plant that I thought could be a cool subject. This is the photograph, and I'm afraid this one too did not work out. It's not bad, but I think what I'm missing here is a more interesting lighting situation. The light in this photo is overly flat, and I think if the sun were up already and gave this plant some backlight, the photo might work because the light would bring some interest into the photo.
My feet are soaked, and it's been like 5 minutes of shooting. Oh, it feels terrible. Oh yeah.
Next, the general landscape here caught my eye, and so I wanted to find a composition. I zoomed in a bit with the lens to get a bit closer to the power pole and got this. This is a bit better than the last attempt of minimalism, but I still don't really like how this turned out. I think my main issue on the shoot in general was that I was badly prepared for these conditions. I came out here expecting bad visibility and fog, but instead got this, which I was mentally just not in the mood for. Do you have that too? I mean, being prepared for a certain type of shoot and then an unexpected twist like this totally messes up your motivation and hence the results. Looking at the GoPro footage, I see many things that could be great photos, but that morning I couldn't see those. Anyway, I continued on this road, and to my right I found yet another composition that could be an interesting minimalistic photograph. This is it, and this one isn't too bad. I like the wavy shape of the grass hill and how the mountains rise behind the hill to add some more shapes into the sky. Then I decided to walk up this hill to see what lies behind, because I was guessing that if I want to see the sunrise, I'm going to have to go up here.
Oh, wow. Well, that's sunrise then.
So, as you can see, the sunrise on this field was beautiful. However, I wasn't so impressed that morning because I just wasn't in the mood for this weather. Nevertheless, I decided to get a shot of that house in the distance. This is the result, and I think this is going in a good direction. I quite like this photo. The light hitting the side of the house has such a romantic morning feeling. The photo feels so quiet and peaceful. A detail I love here is the mist in the valley, which shows us that we're a bit higher up here, which adds to the peaceful atmosphere in the picture. Something small I don't like as much are the power poles. While I often shoot them and include power poles in my compositions, I think in this case they steal a little too much attention from the landscape.
No.
Then I had come down to the road here from where I could see more of the valley ahead, and this time I decided to compose the power poles as the subjects of the photo. Here's the result, and again, I'm fond of the quiet atmosphere. I walked along the road for a bit and found this track that went onto the field. I decided to follow it in the hopes to make my way into the mist in the valley. On the way, I tried to get a photo of the grass and the mist because I enjoyed the backlight from the sun. The photo came out okay, it conveys the atmosphere nicely, however I'm missing some structure here. We do have some leading lines thanks to the field, but they seem to lead to nothing, so the composition feels a bit pointless. Then, further down in the valley, I was now pretty close to the mist and spotted a potential photo of the power pole in the distance that was covered with mist at the bottom. This is the photo, and I like its mysterious vibe. However, apart from that, I don't particularly like it. Then I decided it's time for a classic self-portrait of me running through the landscape. I thought the slope I just came from looked promising, so I set the camera up that way.
Low shutter speeds, here we go, come on. Let me see. Not even too bad. There might be something usable here.
This is the result, and I think it's alright. I'm happy with the slow shutter speed effect. I think it suits the photo well, with the field also looking rather soft. Also, the light hitting the field creates this beautiful mix of colours with greens and yellows. However, as I was editing the photo, I constantly had the feeling that something was off, therefore I didn't like the photo so much. Since then, I think I have realised what I'm bothered by here. I didn't think the lighting through. So in this picture, the light is hitting me slightly from the side, but overall in a pretty much straight manner, which leads to the photo looking a bit flat. I think if I would have positioned the camera in the opposite direction, so 180 degrees around, I would have had a more interesting lighting situation in the photo, with the sun coming a little from the side, but mainly from behind me, which would add a lot of definition to the shapes in the composition. Unfortunately, I didn't think of that at the time, but lesson is learned and I'll hopefully remember next time.
Alright. So this is actually not at all the weather that I was hoping for. I mean, I don't know what I was thinking. I actually knew it was going to be sunny, but I thought the blue hour would be much longer. So I'm feeling a little lost at the moment here in the sun. The sun is at the moment at full power, destroying all the beautiful fog here. So I might as well just stay in this little valley and try to use the fog as much as I can, as long as it's still here. And after that, I don't really know. Well, let's go that way. That is actually quite sweet.
So this is the photo and I like it. This is quite a good example of what I was talking about concerning the last photo. In this one, the light is coming from the side and behind, which creates so much more depth in a photo, I find, don't you think? So while the composition and subject here are not too interesting, I think the light here worked out wonderfully. Then I walked this way towards the power pole in the distance, and on the way I tried to get a photo of it. This is it, and I think it's okay. The lighting is not as good as in the last shot, but we've still got some decent structure in the grass and a clear subject. Oh, and of course some mist, which is always appreciated. As I continued to walk, I liked the symmetry of the power pole from this position, so I tried to get another shot of it. This is it. The photograph is pretty similar to the last one, but I find this one works much better. The symmetry is nice and I enjoy the leading lines at the top, but what makes this one better for me is the lighting. The light has a clear direction here and adds a lot of structure to the photo by highlighting the shapes.
Probably really boring, that shot. Never mind.
So I'm pretty sure that my lack of enthusiasm due to the unexpected conditions was the reason for the bad start. I seem to have still not gotten out of that rut by this moment, but nevertheless, looking at the photo now with a clearer mind, I think it's better than what I made it sound like in the GoPro clip. While indeed the photo feels like it might lack something, a clear subject maybe, I do enjoy the impression. The range of colours is a pleasing combination for the eye, and with the little mist I was able to catch here, I think the photo has a wonderful atmosphere one can dive into as the viewer.
I feel like walking into heaven. So let's check that. Actually looks quite epic. I mean, my camera's pretty terrible at previewing it. Look at that. Can't really see anything. But at the same time it kind of looks a little epic, so maybe it worked out, but I'll have to check in post-production in Lightroom. We'll see.
I think this turned out epic. It really does look like I'm walking straight into heaven. The mist allowed the sunlight to spread in this big, round, glowing manner. I appreciate the progression from the green grass at the bottom to the glowing orange horizon, which effectively conveys some depth in the scene, especially with that long shadow of my silhouette that also acts as a leading line. Another detail I enjoy here is how the light was so strong that it even blew my head out in the photo. Then I continued my walk across the field and I liked the view to my left. The sun was still so low that it gave the field this wonderful glow from the side which I wanted to capture. Here's the result, and I'm not sure how much I like this photo. The lighting and the overall atmosphere are great again, but I feel like we're missing something again. Maybe I should have set the camera on the tripod and run into frame myself. So I heard the plane and got a shot of it, but the result turned out pretty boring, I think, because neither is the colour of the plane interesting nor is the sky exciting. So I had come to a new road and a new field, and on this field I found a plant that I thought could be cool to photograph. This is the shot, and I think this worked out pretty nicely. I went for this CinemaScope crop and quite a hard color grade, which can go terribly wrong, but I think here it actually works. I also like that the plant is not straight, as if it were being blown by a wind. So that was the last photograph of the session. I stayed on the road and walked on, eventually coming back to where we started, and on the way I didn't really find anything that caught my interest, and so that's it. This session was a success, I'd say, especially considering the not so smooth beginning. I was just not in the right mindset, and that is clearly visible in the first photos, but later I think the photos got better and I at least got 2 shots that I consider to be pretty good. My favourite is definitely this one. What are your thoughts? Do you have a different favourite? Let me know in the comments. I'm always curious to read what you think. Anyway, that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If so, I'd appreciate a like. Consider subscribing if you haven't yet, and I'll see you again next week in the next video. Until then, goodbye.